Hey everybody, my name is Chase Pipes and you're watching Chasing History, brought to you by American Digger Magazine and the Smoky Mountain Relic Room. This is Chasing History, which is the educational arm of the Smoky Mountain Relic Room, and we're in Knoxville. We're home. This is home. I'm so excited. We're here with my buddy Steve and Mike.
Hey.
Dude, guys, thank you so much for having us out. We are digging bottles, but it's in the craziest place you would ever think of as far as where to find a bottle. We're going to be digging through old poo, to find cool old bottles. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Why are we digging through poo? What is this madness?
It's treasure.
It's treasure. Okay, what do we got going on here, man? What are we doing?
Well, we are looking for the old privies that are turn of the century or earlier, and this area did not receive water till 1915. At 1915, not everybody could afford to upgrade their bathrooms, so they still used their privies. Well, the Sanborn insurance maps, it was years ago, you had to document all of the buildings on all the properties. So what they did is they have maps that show all the wooden buildings, all the structures on the property. That included the outhouse. So although everything has changed and built up and renewed, where the outhouse is set, the treasure's still there. It's just a matter of locating the treasure.
Okay, so Mike, what neighborhood are we in? We're in just about in downtown Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah, this is the historic 4th and Gill neighborhood.
Okay, so this
was like the best neighborhood of the town. All the upper class people lived here back in the old days, which, you know, they still do some. But back then they had all the good stuff in this neighborhood.
Okay, so a higher income level of area means they're going to be buying better, more expensive stuff that would have been housed in better, more expensive bottles.
We hope so.
Well, that's the way it's been in the past. All the digging we've done in Knoxville, the best stuff we have dug has been in this neighborhood.
Now, how long have you guys been doing this?
Mike's been doing it his whole life, since he was young. His dad was a treasure hunter and has done it. Together, we've been a team for 35 years. 35 years.
Yep. Digging Knoxville and other places.
All over the country.
Well, dude, this is awesome, and we cannot thank you enough for having us out here. So here's what we're doing, guys. This is so cool. Right there, for over 100 years, I'm so excited. There have been bottles sitting there, undiscovered, unfound, sitting in old poo, that we're gonna go dig up. This is gonna be such a treat, man. I mean, just think about it. Here's how these bottles get there. You know, they didn't have any indoor plumbing. You would go outside to use the restroom, and you know, when you would go outside to take a whatever, you would take to put the trash with the rest of it. And also, when you're out there fumbling around in the dark, things would fall out of your pockets, you would lose stuff, you would have a lamp and drop a lamp down there. But how many lamps have you dug out of privies?
Just this year, we've got about 12.
12 lamps that have just accidentally fallen. So things fall down there, and when things fall down there, you're not fishing them out. So once they're in the great beyond, they're not coming back out until 100 years later when guys like us come and dig this stuff up.
Well, it was a bathroom then, just like our bathrooms. You went outside to take your medicine, to sneak to drink, to sneak to smoke a pipe.
That's right.
Everything was sneaky in the outhouse. So we have found, over the years, we've found human remains where they were a quick burial. We found guns, curtains, railroad items, stuff you would not believe would be in a toilet is in that toilet. So mainly it tells the story of the house. If the people were ill, if they were well-to-do, depending on the stuff we find. If they had children, if they had girls, there'll be doll parts in there or small dishes. Boys, of course, marbles, knives, toys. And so the timeline kind of tells how old the house exactly is, dating them through the bottles and the artifacts found, as well as the layers of what we're finding. It'll go down as a timeline. So it is a time capsule. Not just a toilet, but an actual time capsule.
That's awesome. So how do you know the location of these pits?
First and foremost, we find the neighborhood, which is the oldest. And we usually look for one under construction, then we don't have any problem getting permission. Usually we explain what we're doing and it rolls really smooth. For a home like this one where there is a residence here, we go to the Sanborn insurance maps, and we look on the maps, and most of them, we've got them from 1903 to 1917. And in 1903, the city was a lot smaller. 1917, the later it got, the bigger the city got, and so we have more information. So we go and we check the lot first thing, and we see if there is a known outhouse on the property, which will be shown on this map.
So tell us about what this map that you've got here, because this map, just go ahead and start explaining it to us.
Well, this map shows the street lines, which
Okay.
we are on Luttrell right now, and the street at the dead end is 4th Avenue.
Okay.
So we come down Luttrell to 4th Avenue, and that shows the houses all in a row that used to be here.
So these streets have been here since
then.
Since then. Okay.
Correct.
So you've got fixed points that we know where we're at.
Correct.
Okay.
And addresses have changed, but the houses you can usually count. What we did was when we came here and we saw where, this is a friend of mine's house, Preston Faribault, who owns Ironwood Studios, and where his house sits, there were several empty lots. And we assumed through information that there was 4 lots on these empty lots. Once we located the maps, we found there was 5 houses on these lots, which makes it a little bit better.
So it's 1 lot now, but back then it would have been 5 lots.
Well, it's 1 lot now. This lot here, actually, the one we're digging on, housed 2 shotgun houses.
Shotguns, yeah.
2 shotgun houses.
Now what's a shotgun house?
Shotgun house is a straight house with no frills, just straightforward. All the rooms are in a row. There's no offsets whatsoever. It's a shotgun. They were turn of the century for more community housing for manufacturers and workers that belonged to the company store.
Okay. Long and straight.
Long and straight, so they could put them one right after the other, and they could put on a block like this, you could have 15 houses.
Okay. So on the map, we've got 5 lots here. How do you know exactly where the Privy is?
The Privy, you'll see all
Is that what these dots are?
right
here?
in the alley. Almost all the privies will be, let's say, approximately 50 foot away from the house. That gives you distance to the outhouse to prevent the smell and whatever, and give you privacy. Most of them are in the alley. So we go to the back of the alley, and you can see there's a bunch of boxes here. Some of the larger boxes were livery stables or sheds, coal sheds.
Livery stables to put their horses
In, and the carriage houses actually back then as well. So when we get down and we narrow it down from the larger buildings to the very smallest of the buildings that are shown on the map, the smallest ones are the outhouses. Some of them are double. This one is on a property line, so it shows the pit directly in the middle, which is the one we'll be digging today. Both houses shared 1 pit.
Okay.
Double the trash.
Okay, double the trash.
No one wants to be outdone in their trash.
What they call a double-seater.
2-seater.
Okay, cool. Now, are the alleyways still there?
Yes.
The alleyways are still there.
Okay.
A lot of times.
That's another point of reference we can get.
Is the alleyways still there?
Yeah.
Well, this looks awesome, guys. I can't think of anything else. So our next step is hop in the yard and probe it out.
And what I'm going to do to probe that out, being as we've got the map and we know Preston's house is right here on this lot, I'm going to walk off the property line, and the pit is dead center. So that means if I walk from his property line to the other property line and then backtrack halfway, almost guaranteed the pit is going to be where it is supposed to be on this map. It still has to be located. We use these spring steel probes that have a small bead on the end, and the bead opens the way for the rest of the shaft to go in. And if you can sink a probe 4 foot in the ground never packs solid again. So if you have natural ground, it's hard all the way down. Once it has been dug and filled back in, it never packs hard ever again.
Okay.
So it is able to be, driven down through.
Okay.
Not to mention that it's filled with ash and trash.
Okay.
It's much softer than the surrounding.
Cool. Well, let's get into all that when we get up there. I'm ready to get in the hole.
Okay.
Or start finding the hole.
We'll have to
and then
move some
dig in the
dirt
hole.
first.
I'll dig the hole, dude. I'm pumped. I'm
Okay.
excited. All right, you guys ready? Let's go. We're gonna dig the hole. Woohoo! Okay, so we got the map here, and we walked back. So how are we gonna figure out exactly where this pit is on this line here?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to trust the map tells us exactly where it's at.
Okay.
It's a human error for them to put, they got to come out and draw the buildings. Hey, they might be in a hurry that day and they can put it anywhere. A lot of times we have it's been on the map, and we find it 6, 8, 10 foot away from where they actually was.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to plan on coming to, this is the lot we're going to dig, and it shows the privy directly center of both houses. Means
Okay.
it was a shared privy, a two-seater, and they shared both the privy.
Okay. Are there any present-day markers that would let you know where the property lines are?
The only markers that we can, when we get to the map, and we do everything by lot to lot to lot, property line to property line, a lot of times the utility companies will go to the middle of the property lines. That way they're not encroaching on one person's property. They'll go to the easement, go to the center of the property, and pop a utility pole in there.
Okay, so like these telephone poles back behind us.
Correct. The one
Okay.
in the middle, I just glanced up, the one in the middle is in the middle of the lot. There should be a privy down from it.
Okay.
A lot of disappointment. We've had them where they put them, the privies were closer to the alley, and they actually put the telephone pole right in the middle of the privy.
Okay.
And then it's a no bueno, can't dig.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But today, everything's
Well, you
down
can't just put vest on and the hard hat and say you're working for the telephone.
and bring
company.
shoring stuff that we can shore the pole up with when we undermine it. You know.
Yeah.
But for
Don't do that. Don't do that.
so for right now, we know that the alley is up high, and the privy would not be on an alley that high up. So they'll bring it a little more into the yard,
Okay.
and that's just experience from doing it so
Okay.
many times.
All right, so we want to walk this off from the corner of this house to the corner of the property.
Correct.
Okay, well, let's do that. So we're going to walk this off.
Correct. We're going to go, as you can
Here.
see on the map,
Okay.
the house, they're right up next to each other.
Okay.
So this walkway that's behind us, when we look towards the street, we see a telephone pole right on the property line.
Okay, so that's another marker. Like you're saying, telephone poles on the corner. That's a good little tidbit.
All perspectives from all
Okay.
sides. You got to check all sides before you even get started, because things are deceiving. When they add on to the houses, they take away from the houses, and therefore we check all the houses and see how they line up in all the area.
But usually the property lines stay the same.
Property lines stay the
Okay.
same.
Huh. That's a good little tidbit. Okay, so we've got the corner of the property here.
Correct.
Do we want to walk it off, or do we want to just, since we know the telephone pole line is there, just hey, X marks the spot?
Well, probing is really taxes you. It's very physical to try to drive a 4-foot probe. You really have to put your body weight behind it to get it into the ground.
And back to what you were talking about earlier is when you punch into the ground that hasn't been disturbed, when you push that in, it's going to push really, really hard. But when you're in an area where it's been dug, it's going to be soft.
That's true, because that was filled with ash, bottles, trash, so it's always going to be loose. So like if I was to do it right here, you can see it's a little loose, but
It eventually
you
stops.
get hardness.
Okay.
You can't really get it in.
Okay.
So, but when we get the pit, it should go all the way to the handle.
Just straight, easy, straight through. So that's the purpose of this tool.
That's correct.
So we want to try and see if this spot's it.
Yeah, I'll walk it
All right,
off.
we'll walk it off.
We'll walk it off all the way.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep. Let's go. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Dude, right in the middle of where it was. Okay. So
it's got to be,
be
I don't
right
think
here.
it's down here. It's got to be right here.
okay.
It shows it being close to the alley.
Okay, well let's set the probe in and see how easy it is to go. Oh,
Crunch. I'm going to get this.
straight to the handle. Cool. I like it.
So that's the way it should be.
Right here. We're in the middle of the city, guys. And right here, there was an outhouse. I don't know whether that's like a cool thing or not to be sitting where people pooed for 100 years, but it's still, this, I'm excited. This is cool.
So now what we do is we double check it with a 6-footer.
Okay. Oh.
Oh, can you hear that on the camera?
Can you hear the crunching?
Yeah. So it's exactly 6 foot.
So what's that crunching that we were hearing?
Cinder.
Cinder.
Coal cinder from out of the fireplace.
So they would take their coal cinder out of their fireplaces and dump it in here also.
a good fill.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, and so that's another sound. So basically, there's no doubt, 100%, we've got a telephone pole here, which marks the middle of the property line, which is showing on our map here.
Yeah.
We've divided it off from the middle on steps and saw that that also shows that we're in the middle of the property line. We've got a map from 1917 that says, hey, right here, at least in 1970, there was an outhouse pit right here.
Correct.
Probing down here in the crunch, it goes straight through where it was hard to go through over there. You know somebody dug a hole here. So all of these things combined, we now know there's about 100% chance there's an outhouse right here.
Correct. And what we have to do now is we have to come in from the side where we hit it and see how far it goes, all four sides,
Okay.
to know where we have to open up and take the sod up. We're going to take the grass up. So the wall is right here.
Okay. So we've got it right here. And so what you're doing with this is when you're going at an angle like this, when he's going at an angle like this, it's striking the wall. This end, even though the handle is up here, the angle of this, it's hitting the wall further down and further out. So that's how you can measure the depth of what you've got going on. So I'm standing on a pile of poo.
Yep, 120-year-old.
120-year-old poo.
Yep.
Dude, let's get some shovels and dig this thing. I'm so psyched. You ready?
Oh,
Ready?
more than you
Dude.
know.
Yes! This is going to be awesome. All right, let's do it.
Okay.
All right, so what we're doing is we're taking this out in sod chunks, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. So that way we can put the grass back and it doesn't look like somebody's dug a big giant
Correct.
hole here. Okay.
Try not to disturb the yard too much.
I got you. All right. So the sod will lay out here.
In a week, you'll never even know we were here.
Okay, cool. Just like we show on every Chasing History episode, you guys will work with the property owners. Make sure to take good care of them. Ask permission. Always put a place back better than the way you found it. Take good care of them. That's how you get onto more sites, and that's how you build a reputation, like Steve and Mike have, to get onto sites most people wouldn't have a chance to get onto. So we got the sod off. What's going to be the next step after this?
Moving dirt.
Just moving dirt.
Moving dirt.
Okay. Is there anything on the surface of the soil that lets you know that you're on a privy?
Generally, there'll be a. What's in the sand down? Generally, there'll be regular yard dirt on top.
Okay.
Just from 100 years. We should hit a cap of clay.
Okay.
That they either sealed it off. If we get right into ash immediately, then we may go down with the ash until the clay may be on top of the poopy layer.
Okay.
To kill the smell.
So they would use a layer of clay to kill that smell.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
So now all it is just throwing dirt.
So when this is top sign that you're on top of a privy.
100%.
Is this. So this is the dirt that was on top.
Correct.
And this is the dirt that was dumped into the privy.
Correct.
What's interesting that Mike was telling us about is that we hit a layer, we were digging through with this really black stuff, and then we hit a layer of really white colored ash. What does that mean?
Well, when you get down, the different years they were burning different things. They had like coal, they had wood, and you get a lot of cinder from the coal, and you get the wood ash from the white ash from the wood. So now he's getting into a different layer, and he's throwing out some wood ash.
Okay.
So it also gets older too.
So that's a forensic tool that you can use to tell year by year from what people were burning. Maybe one year wood was easier to get than coal was, or maybe money was a little tight, so they burned wood instead of coal. So it's just a good indicator of what they were burning at the time. It's a really cool little forensic tool to talk about the past. So that's awesome. So we're here with Preston Faribault. He's the landowner. Preston, what is this like for you to know that in the house that you live in that there's possibly this cool history behind it? Because you're a real history-minded person.
Yeah, well, I think that to me it's fascinating. I think that homes and buildings kind of retain their own memories, and to be able to see some of those memories come out of the soil and some of that history is just really interesting to me to learn a little bit more about who came before me,
yeah,
and to see what their lifestyles were like, and you know, what kind of liquor they drank, and those types of things. And you know, I think, like I said, the structure, in my mind, it retains all these memories. And, and it's, in a way, it's a way to kind of honor those memories.
Yeah, so by rescuing the artifacts from obscurity and giving them a place of prominence, and just where the artifacts themselves can be remembered in your home or in somebody's collection, something like that, you think it kind of adds to, you know, the memory of the place.
Oh yeah, yeah, and just the act of kind of turning the soil and kind of opening up those memories.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's fascinating.
Now, what do you do for a living? You telling me earlier about you were working with wood and putting the story back. Can you tell a little bit about that?
I'm a sculptor. I do ornamental and architectural ironwork, and I make furniture. Yeah, and any time that I have a chance to use materials that have a little bit of history to it, I do that. And I've been collecting historic Knoxville ironwork for 20 years now. So sometimes I'll repurpose it into furniture design.
Oh, that's cool. And will you keep the story of its origin when you repurpose it?
Absolutely, yeah.
See, that's so cool, guys. I mean, no matter where you look, there's history all around you. And if you're using old materials, like what Preston does, it's a great example. Try to keep that history with it. I mean, that's just, I applaud that, dude. That's really cool. That's really cool. So how many times have you sat back behind here? Oh, cool! Check that out.
So I think that means that there was a boy that grew up here.
I mean, that's if I had one superpower, this would be able to touch this and see how many times that kid lost those matches or won those matches, or what his story like. And what's cool is since that kid probably dropped it and they're going to the restroom, we're the first two people in since that day to touch and to hold something that he lost.
I just got chills because now I've got a newborn here that's, you know, going to add to the history of this space.
And there's his first marble for his collection.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool. Here you go.
He'll swallow that one though. I got to wait a little while.
Yeah, wait a little while for that. That's cool. That's really cool. Okay, these are Tavern Pipes, and there actually was a pipe manufacturer here in Knoxville, which is really cool. This was, before there were cigarettes, all tobacco was either chewed, snuffed, which is snorted up your nose, or smoked in instruments like this. In these pipes, they started producing this type of molded pipe in the 1820s. They call them trade pipes or tavern pipes because this type of pipe was traded to the Native Americans in the West in the 1820s, 30s, 40s, all the way through. So what it would have is it had a reed cane, which is long gone, about like this, just a simple river cane reed. You'd put your smoke in there and you'd have smoked out of it. When you were done, you'd pull the reed out, put the reed in your pocket, your pipe in your pocket, and that would be how you would consume tobacco. But what's fascinating about this is we were pulling out stuff from the 20s. This is middle 1800s. This is pre-Civil War. It's just wild that you've got an artifact like this so high up. That's so cool. My name's Pipes and I love pipes, and this is just, this is so cool. So this is what somebody would have done, and this could very well be one that was manufactured in Knoxville, because there's a pipe manufacturer in Knoxville down around where the fairgrounds are now. So cool. Oh, what do we got? Oh, nice. Steve just pulled out this really cool little gold cream bottle. But see, here's the thing. Here's how you date stuff, by looking at how they're manufactured. That's how you know. That's how we know that bottle is from the 20s. That this bottle is from the 20s, 30s, 40s because of the screw top. That technology didn't appear on glassware until after the 20s. So that's how you can date it. But it's just wild. You've got this in association with this. So a lot of times in these pits, they're going through the house and they're just throwing away just whatever trash that they had. So this was probably in the yard or in the house somewhere, and they just chucked it away, which explains how this pipe got in there. But we're starting to find stuff now, so this is cool. We've got a little glass lamp with the cord and the insulator still apart. So it's wild. They just wrapped it all. The lamp broke or who knows what. They wrapped it up and threw it down in where the rest of the crap, no pun intended, goes. But
here's an amber Coke
oh,
from Knoxville.
No way. So amber Coke, that's 20s, teens?
No,
05
to 14.
05 to 14. So we're in it right here. Amber Coca-Cola, and then on the back it says Knoxville, Tennessee. What's the arrow that's on it? There's an arrow on it.
The first ones were plain brown coats. They first had a straight side that was aqua. Then they moved to the brown to supposedly protect the contents, which really didn't work. So then they had a straight side that just said Knoxville, Tennessee. The arrow is the later one. That's probably 1912.
A lot of times these privies will be brick lined. They'll have bricks all the way around and down. But a lot of times also, they just had bricks stacked up around the top, and that's what the actual wooden structure would sit on. It would sit on top of the pit, but they had to have a foundation for it, so the foundation was made of bricks. And usually the bricks they would push in the hole.
So what do we got here? This seems to come out every now and then. What is this?
Even though it looks chalky, it's lime. They used powdered lime on top of the pits when they were in use to kill the smell.
Okay.
So lime seals it off and eats all the odors up and whatever. That's usually, they have several layers of that. So about every 2 years, you'd had to get a bag of lime poured in your pit, covered up, and then start all over again.
Would the lime break down the bacteria and everything like that, and cap the smell?
And cap the smell.
Okay, so this is a textbook, just great sign that we are definitely, not just the bottles that we found, but the lime too, we're in it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're touching it, because I wouldn't touch that.
You want to touch it? You want to touch it? Okay, so Steve, we got a little bottle top, but this is a lot different than the other ones. So we're getting, this is a different period?
Correct. It's Aqua Glass, which really is pre-1906 usually.
Okay.
Okay, that's when the Food and Drug Act stepped in, quit labeling stuff as cures, that type of thing. And soon after that, they made machine-made bottles, which were just pressed in a glass pressed in a machine, and the mold seam will come all the way up and over the top of the bottle. That's how you can tell if it's a 1920 type of and later bottle. This bottle here is blown in the mold in aqua. The actual mold seam stops at the shoulder, and therefore the neck, the way the neck is tooled, this bottle puts it right at 1890.
Okay, so, but you use diagnostics like how the seam, the mold line in the bottle comes up, the color of the bottle, how it's done in the mold, the top is the diagnostic part. So you can, even though it's a broken piece of bottle, we can still discern what age this is and let us know. We learned that the house dates back to 1880, 1890, so that puts this bottle right at the beginning times of when this house was. So
it's got a little piece of leather, like off a shoe or something.
Oh,
that's always a good sign.
Whoa. That's cool. Look at that.
Someone lost their shoe in there.
Somebody lost their shoe, but these are the eyelets where the thread would go to tie your shoe, where the string would go to tie your shoe, and it's leather. That's 100-year-old leather or older that's been at the bottom of a cistern. Wow.
Yeah.
So what do we got here? Is that bone or?
No, it's like a Bakelite type.
A Bakelite.
Maybe
so now we've got
maybe a rubberized
cone.
type or something.
Early rubber. You know, they had rubber going all the way, or a form of rubber going all the way back to just before the Civil War. Bakelite. This is all the materials that were pre-plastic. Before you had plastics, you had these rubber compound of materials. World War II is really when you get the emergence of modern plastic. But yeah, this is like a Bakelite material, so a really early plastic. Probably 1920s, I would say, early 1900s, but cool, we're starting to find stuff. Just think of the hair that would have gone through. That's so cool. This is the kind of stuff I like to see. It's awesome. This is that lime layer right here. You can see the layer right there where they would take it, and they would take lime and cap it to cap the smell down, and as a way to break down the poop and everything. So there's one lime layer right there. Steve was saying they do that every 2 years. So
once you have the map,
this is
it gives
cool.
you a little
Look,
bit
we
more
got a really awesome plate and a little piece of shoe. So plate drops and broke. Because see, they didn't have garbage people coming around and picking up their garbage in this period. They either had to haul it a mile or so away to a dump or to a community dump, or the easiest thing to do was just to take it and throw it where all the rest of the crap goes, no pun intended. And just whenever you went out to the outhouse, you take a little load of trash with you and you just throw it down the hole. So that's how we get pieces like this plate. That's awesome. Cool.
This is a drugstore, and it's hand tooled, blown in the mold, but it has no writing on it. It had a paper label originally. So, but it's about 1890 period. So we're getting down to the right period now.
Now, one thing you never want to do is just grab it and yank it. The bottle might have a hairline crack or something like that. You don't want to destroy the bottle. So you just slowly expose the dirt above it and to the side of it to expose it. This is a pretty decent little bottle. Oh, it's a drugstore bottle. There's a little drugstore emblem on it. So we'll get it where it comes out. Ooh, nice little corker. Still got water in it.
Rosenthal.
Yep, you got it.
See it from here.
You exactly nailed it. Rosenthal Drug Company. When is that? 1890, 1910?
1890 to 1910.
1890 to 1910.
Yeah, I'd say it's about 1905.
This is really cool. This is a little shell button. They would take the shells out of the... They use the river shells, or they would use the river shells. Of course, East Tennessee had one of the largest populations of freshwater mussels anywhere in the world. And they would just drill little holes into the actual shell itself to drill out and punch these buttons right out. So this is a little shell button from a freshwater mussel that might have come from right here, could have been made right here. All the way it appears to be intact. Pop it out. Oh, nice. Little whiskey bottle. Real slick, not embossed with anything. Paper label. So what do you say? Got a little crack on it. What would you say on that, guys? 20s, 30s?
Oh,
Three-piece mold. That's 1890.
Oh, it is. Hey, nice. So right contemporary with the house. So 1890s, three-piece mold. What he's talking about? You got, if you see the thing, turn around. You got the mold here. You got the, where's the line at? You got the line here, half and half. So there's the, you got the bottom part, you got this half, and that half, and then the top one. So, and that, like we were talking about earlier, is another diagnostic to how to date these bottles.
Wow.
Look at that. That's awesome. Wow. Is that German?
Sometimes, and they'll have usually glass eyes in them. You might even find the eyes.
Wow. That is cool. Another part of the doll's head.
It probably does.
Man, that is creepy as hell. Does this come with a curse or something?
Oh, got a mustache
That is
cup.
spooky. Oh, neat. Little mustache. Now it's coming
As
out.
we get closer to the bottom, that's when you hit all the stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. See, that can be repaired there. So this is really cool. This is a globe to a lamp. So, you know, this is all before electricity. So what they would do, there's where the pieces go together. So this was somebody that walked out to the outhouse with the globe. Either the globe fell in or they broke it or whatever. But that's the globe to a little gas lamp. That is really, really cool. Steve, do you find a lot of these in the outhouses?
Yes, a lot of those.
A lot of these.
More than we do the lamps.
Yeah. So that is a really cute little medicine bottle. 1890s, 1910. That aqua like he was talking about earlier. So this is a beautiful little, what kind of medicine would have been in this, Mike?
That would have been like some little pills or drops, probably.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool.
Back then they rolled all pills by hand, so they made them, you know, as small
Small
as
as
they
they
wanted,
could?
or whatever. Yeah.
Wow.
And also back then they had opium in them, they had morphine, they had everything in them, so they were real small.
Yeah.
You know?
So they had pills back then.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Little shoe polish bottle?
Well, that one's actually some kind of mucilage or something,
Some kind of what?
like a glue bottle,
Okay, so a little glue.
paste.
This is an early ketchup bottle. Little paneled ketchup bottle. Bad the top's broken. But see, ketchup has been around for a long, long time. Worcestershire sauce has been around, the recipe's been around since the Romans, but Worcestershire sauce as we know it today has been around since the 1820s. And even the company, Lehman Peppers, has been around since before the Civil War. So a lot of these condiments that we have, they had them back then. That's a medicine vial?
That's a medicine vial.
So why the odd shape?
That's syphilis.
Whoa! So that would go.
They break the top
They
off.
break
it
the top off.
and then draw the juice out of it.
Okay, so like
hole.
you see some of the.
The hole in the end.
Oh, whoa, that's cool. So that would
Never coming out.
that go in your pee-pee hole? Because the way they used to the way they used to give syphilis, like one of the earliest examples of syphilis treatment was to mix molasses with mercury, and they put it in a syringe and they would shoot it up your urethra, up your pee-pee hole.
I'm not exactly sure.
But it could be. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's a lot. That's a large dose right there.
That's the biggest one I've ever seen.
Wow.
Usually they're a lot smaller.
That's a bad case. Oh, whoa!
Vase.
Well, I bet this is the bottom
To that. Correct.
Yep. Oh, that's awesome. That is beautiful. Wow. Look at that. It's got some beautiful gold flake. Oh, that is a beautiful vase. Man. Oh, look at the floral pattern on it.
It's like a flow blue or something.
God, yeah, that's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now they're coming out quick.
Ginger ale.
Ginger ale bottle. This is later. But
Actually, it's about 1905.
really, that old?
Yep.
I would not have guessed that.
Paper label.
So contemporary with this, medicine, beautiful little Knoxville, Tennessee bottle.
Coffin whiskey.
Oh, a little coffin whiskey.
1890s.
So now we're hitting it, but the whole story of this family or families that lived here is all within this bottle. Let's go over by the hole and see where the action's at. Let me grab my little knife.
Go in with your knife.
what we were talking about.
What is this? Oh,
Those
this.
are enemas, douches, different things, but they're made of that
Here's another
rubberized
one, but-
material.
Okay, so there's that really early rubber material, and this was designed to go up inside.
That's
Gotcha.
correct.
As either an enema.
It had a rubber type hose and a whatever you call it, a plunger at the end.
Yeah. Clean everything out.
Clean everything out.
Wow, that is
See, so
neat.
Chase, if
Yep.
you can see.
Closer.
Nice. Ooh, that's got a
design on it.
real pretty pattern on it.
Sometimes it has the makers on the back, and some of those are
Yep,
Knoxville.
there we go.
Some are,
Oh, there's another piece of it. Same design.
some of them are actually from a druggist in Knoxville.
Wow, that's cool. Royal Ironstone, China, Alfred Meakin, England. And there's the lady leg. So what kind of alcohol would have gone in here?
It could have been anything, bourbon, rye, some kind of, hard whiskey.
So would these bottles be made independently, and then whatever distiller would put their own label on it?
In this case, yes.
Okay, all right.
They would have put their own label on it.
So this would have been.
One more bucket.
Oh, I'm sorry. So these bottles would have been made somewhere else and then sold to the whiskey distillers, whatever it was, and they would just put their own
Put
label
their own
on it.
label on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Call it
All right.
theirs.
So probably a local whiskey maker.
Oh yeah, one of the saloons for sure.
One of the saloons in Knoxville. God, that's so cool.
Celery Pains.
Good old Payne.
Still a nice bottle.
Yep.
Payne celery caffeine?
Hot diggity dog.
Payne
Duffy.
celery compound. That's awesome. So what is celery compound?
It would probably be strictly a diuretic.
Yeah, it was a vegetable compound of some type.
So a form of medicine.
Yeah, but I'm sure it had a lot of alcohol in it.
Besides the whiskeys, almost everything we get out of the pit will be to do with constitution.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's fascinating that almost all medicine back then was just, 20%, 30% alcohol. So if it didn't cure exactly what ailed you, it sure as hell made you feel better.
That's an early one too.
Oh, that's
How early? What would you date that?
I'd date that right at 1890.
Yeah.
We might even get back into 1880s.
Might even
in
be
this one.
1880s.
Oh, there you go. Awesome.
There you go.
Mother's friend.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Yep, mother's friend.
Look at these guys. You can tell they've dug a lot. I barely got it out of the ground, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, it's mother's friend right there." Nailed it.
From
man.
Atlanta, too.
From
That's a good
Atlanta.
one from Atlanta.
In Georgia. These guys know what they're doing. So what is this in it? Because that's still got the cork on it.
Oh, I know. It's the medicine in there, and it's got pit water from seepage.
So so we probably don't want to handle that water.
I got $100. Says first man that takes my $100. Taste it. I keep when it's sealed.
Wow.
You know, it's
That is
you,
cool.
so if it cleans up nice,
That'd be neat. to
then you
it
leave
sealed.
everything like it is. I've got a mother's friend that we dug out that has the exact same way, except the cork fell inside, and they resealed the cork with some kind of wax
Huh.
linen, and then in there, and all the contents are in it clean. I've got it sitting on my cabinet.
Wow, that's awesome. That's a neat.
That's a groovy.
So this is all tomato seeds. And so they were just eating tomatoes whole, and they all kind of floated down to the bottom once the poop dissolved, and there you go.
130, 40 years ago.
And they'll still grow?
They'll still grow.
Really?
Yep.
That's
awesome.
unbelievable, I
In
know.
fact, Chase, you ought to take a handful of that home and put it in your garden.
Hand me one of those plates right there.
You
Let me
would-
get a,
you would
or
have
just
a-
something flat. I'm gonna get a pile of
That would be definitely heirloom.
That's what I was saying. Those are heirloom tomatoes.
100-year-old tomatoes, and growing them would be just phenomenal.
And you got to make sure where you plant them so we can keep track.
Yep.
Well, you know what
Because I
happens?
want to have
Set
tomatoes.
that,
When we fill in the hole, a lot of times
set that
we
off
fill it in
inside.
and
That'll be a
smooth
fun little
it
experiment.
over, and then
What is this? The eyes?
yeah, this is the doll head I handed out earlier that was full of dirt.
Yeah.
So as I dug through the dirt, the eyes popped out.
What? That is crazy. Look at that.
Handmade glass eye.
Wow. That is cool. Does this come with a curse?
It looks like it
That
might.
is just
But,
super creepy.
Mike and I dug a pit one time, and we got down close to the bottom. It was full of water, and I took a rake with the swipe with the rake, and all these eyeballs popped up. Human-sized eyeballs
Different
popped
colors,
up. All different
floating,
colors
looking
popped
at
up
you
out
in
of the
the
water. Scared the hell out of us.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
Steve,
badass.
It's one of those,
Great for a
It's a railroad.
connector.
connector.
Yeah, a coupling.
Huh.
And we dug some of these.
Heck would that get down?
I mean, listen, they threw the a kid collects ones off the railroad, comes in here and watches it plop in the toilet.
Yeah.
I do the same thing.
Yeah,
I used to
that
do it
makes
all the
sense.
time.
They're made of brass.
Chamber pot lid.
Chamber pot lid.
Oh no, it's the base. You're right, it's the base.
Is it?
I thought you had hold of a knob.
It looked like a lid, but no.
That's a little chamber pot.
No, it's not a chamber pot.
No, it's
What
not.
is
It's like
that?
a porridge bowl
Just
or
a
something.
bowl.
Porridge bowl. Boy, that is beautiful. That is really cool.
There could even be a candy dish.
Candy
Kinda thick.
dish.
Probably a candy dish.
Yeah. That milk glass.
Yeah.
That is cool.
I don't see
One
the
man's
makers.
trash is all of our treasure.
No maker on that one.
Oh, look at this. Look at that. Oh, that is so cool. That is a killer freaking marble. That's a mid-late 1800s little blue swirl marble. God, that's a rare freaking marble. Oh, I think, in my opinion, this is the best thing we've pulled out of the hole all day. That is just a killer little marble. Then coming through dirt like this, that's this color, and that has the poop and the trash and the feces and all that stuff. It's all clean, it's all sterile. Then when you hit this clay stuff, that is the bottom, very bottom of your pit. Now what's fascinating is that this sitting on top of this would kind of make this a little gel-like, and so when things fall down into it, this was kind of, you know, muddy, and so you will get things going down into this clay layer, but not very far. So we don't want to go too far back this. So now our idea is we're going to go this way a little bit, this way a little bit, and that way a little bit, and that way a little bit, and expand this hole and see what else we've got going. So I'm going to clean out this bottom, and then we'll make the hole bigger. That's cool.
And they get that patina
What
to them
I-
that you can't duplicate.
What age do you think that cup is?
Well, with that grazing on it, you know, again, I'd say 1890 period.
1890.
See all the
That's
grazing
cool.
on it.
That's a neat little glass. What is that? What kind of glass lid is that? Whoa.
That's an oil lamp.
Oil lamp?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just where they would have put the oil in.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I'm with you. Ooh, that's a cool little oil lamp. God, look at this. That would have been just super,
Looks Greek or something, doesn't it?
super awesome. Handle still on it. That is just a beautiful. What would have this have been, guys?
Just a decorative vase. It looks
Beautiful
like.
decorative
Yeah.
vase. Wow. Let's keep. If you guys don't want these pieces, I'd love to try to put this thing back together. That is just beautiful.
We'll flip a coin.
Wow. That's awesome. Okay, so now we've gone all the way down to the bottom, and you're trying to figure out which way the pit goes, basically.
Yeah, now it's really easy, man.
Okay.
because, see, I can't stick the rod in, it's solid.
Okay.
This way.
So you've got walls and walls coming this way.
Right.
So the only way to go is that way.
That way. And
And
this way, I haven't even hit the wall yet.
Okay. So instead, so these talking about tunneling in, instead of taking all this overburden off, they're just going to tunnel in a little bit since it's just a foot or two, which isn't enough depth for the tunnel to collapse. So
But we can
go
clean
that
out
way
the
and that
distance.
way and see what else we can find.
Yep.
Okay. What do you got coming out now?
We got a Duffy's Malt Liquor.
Whoa! That is a nice embossed bottle. Steve, what is this? What would this
It's
have
just
been?
whiskey, malt liquor.
Is this the company?
That's Duffy's, yes.
Duffy's
And
is
there's
the
a fairly common bottle from Rochester, New York. There's only two different kinds of those bottles. There's one Duffy's and there's an E.R. Bitterton from Chattanooga in the same shape. And what they did is the Rochester sold them the bottles
Huh.
for the E.R. Bittertons. They're
That's
the only two
cool.
known in that style and shape.
So that's what really makes this stuff valuable is the names that are embossed
Correct.
on the bottles.
The Duffy's is about a $20 to $25 bottle clean. The E.R. Bittertons would be what, $100, Mike?
Yep.
$100.
Same bottle,
Same bottle.
different manufacturers, $70 difference. And of course the locality of it too. People that are from this area are going to want bottles from this area. So that's just a neat bottle. All right, so Mike pulled up another bottle that's got D.A. Rosenthal on it. That's the third one we found. So diagnostically, what does that tell you?
The Rosenthal means there's 3 in this pit, means that was probably their closest drugstore, and there was a few of them located through the city, so that was their closest drugstore. Means that the family didn't venture much out into the city. Otherwise, we'd have a variables of drugstores. They're the most common. We'd probably have.
There's a panel of them.
Yeah, there you go.
And here's another panel. So that was their normal drugstore, just like we would use CVS or Walgreens. When we get closer to the city, there was 150 drugstores through the city. Man, people just used all kinds. They went different places for different prescriptions.
But this family really liked D.A. Rosenthal.
Yep. They made the good
cool.
stuff.
Might have been within walking distance.
And it might even have been in walking distance. That's just a cool little diagnosis of how you can reconstruct this family's patterns, their life patterns. That's just fascinating by just what you're pulling up out of the ground. That is cool. So from start to finish, we had no idea, when we got here, we had no idea where this would be. We had no idea what would be in the bottom of it. You know, we spend a couple hours, we dig down and dig this out, looking for stuff all the way up. And we've got a big, huge slice of the history of this house, more importantly of this city during the late 1800s, early 1900s. What in the...
It's got handles on it. Look at it is. Look at there.
Whoa!
That's bad.
They threw an
It's a
iron
planter.
What the heck?
It's
That
a toilet.
No, it is a toilet.
It is a toilet.
That's the toilet.
That's the toilet that was on. That's a toilet.
That's a...
So they must have put that in later.
Wow. So this is where all the action happened, right here. Have you ever dug a toilet?
Never. With pieces. We dug a piece in the dump the other day. Never dug nothing like
So
that.
this is the first time you've dug a toilet in an outhouse.
What's it doing? It's supposed to have a wooden. See, but that could be in a fancy one.
Yeah, because we're in a better neighborhood.
The neighborhood could have had the throne sitting right there with over the top of everything, and you just did a straight shot through there.
That is awesome. Guys, this is some awesome stuff. I mean, everything that was broken in the house, I mean, that ended up down in that hole. We dug everything out. Look at all of this broken china, whole bunch of cool bottles, tomato seeds. Yeah. That is insane. Look at that. That's such a cool little candy dish or something.
Yeah.
Is this about average for what you guys pull out of outhouses?
I think pretty much it is.
Yeah.
Normally, sometimes we get a lot more, sometimes we get a lot less.
Yeah.
This is pretty average.
Okay. So what can all of this stuff tell you about the family that was living here?
There, from what I see, the stoneware is all middle class.
Okay.
It's all middle class type of stuff, more towards the lower middle class. They weren't sick a lot, because usually in a household that has a lot of children and stuff, they have a lot of diarrhea stuff, and We always dig a Fletcher's Castoria. We did not dig one in here. I think the mother's friend took over that, and it's way earlier than what we usually get out of there. So they have some commercial bottles, the Duffys, the Payne celery, the Coca-Cola. So they got out and they went to normal stores and bought popular items versus just paper label generic items. So they were doing really well. They just didn't waste what they had.
Right, I got you. And that's just incredible that you can look at the contents of the house. And this is just a forensic look at, you know, what the family was like. You know, this is a good neighborhood, but the house that was on this site, when we looked at the map, was a shotgun house. So just a real, you know, they had a little bit of extra money to spend, and the artifacts, you know, reflect that. But I mean, we found some great, I mean, there's some beautiful glass stuff in the china that we found, you know, all here. I mean, England, all different makers
Correct.
from England. So
Not
they
China,
had,
China, China.
right? Yeah,
England.
And we know the guy had a mustache because he had a couple of mustache cups.
That's right. See, that's another cool
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
You know, there's a lot of little pieces you can put together.
Yeah, you could put that back together. Spoons. We know that they had children because of the dolls
Doll
that
heads.
they found.
I think we got 3 doll heads out there.
3 doll heads. So we know they had children. We know there was a boy because we've got the marbles here. So they played marbles. No, there was a woman in the house
And
because there was
Chase, you
perfume.
can see the little risque on there or something. Little person. and a
Whoa,
couple people
that
on it.
is cool.
Yeah, little transfer wear, but it's
Yeah, dude kissing a lady, get a little frisky
Yeah.
on that mustache cup. That's cool. The mother's friend. What's going on here? That's just an awesome conglomerate. Is that the original
That's
stuff?
the original
Yeah, original
content.
stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the original stuff, and just over the years, it's all kind of congealed back together
Yeah,
from
it's
when it was
oil-based.
It's like
product.
a castor oil.
Okay.
Castor oil type of thing, you know, that's what I would think.
So mother's friend, what was that used for?
Constitution,
Con-
to help,
Constipation.
out.
well, for your constitution.
Okay, I got you.
Constipation, whatever.
To keep
Yeah,
you regular.
Keep you regular.
Yeah,
keep you
I
regular.
got you. Okay. There's another mother's friend. We've got some good pharmacy bottles, but they're all pretty much the same pharmacy, which was really interesting.
We have one Coleman's in there that I didn't know we had.
Yeah, we have a Coleman's here somewhere.
So Coleman's was our 5 and 10. Coleman's was the one that there's a Coleman's on every corner.
Okay.
Yeah, they were the biggest drugstore.
They were
in
the
town.
biggest drugstore, but we can tell that. What was the name of the other one?
D.A. Rosenthal.
D.A.
So
Rosenthal.
they must have been within walking distance of here.
Okay, and so when that was probably their primary drugstore that they went to, because we've got 3 of those bottles and none from other places.
Right, and the D.A. Rosenthal is 1890s as the Rosenthal sign of safety is a 1900s bottle.
And after 1905.
So they use the same drugstore for at least 10 or 15 year period.
Okay. What's the range and age of stuff that we've got here?
We started in the very top that was really we would call junk,
1950s.
1950s. That meant the whole sunk, and as they kept throwing it after every 10 years it sunk, they threw something else in it.
Okay.
But then we went back as far as 1890. I don't see anything. The plateware may be 1880s, some mixed in, but that's just because it's been in the household that long. But the actual bottles that we can identify, I would think 1890s as far as we got back to.
Yeah, through around 1905.
Okay. And then a really cool Coca-Cola bottle that says Knoxville, Tennessee. You said this was around 1905?
Well, I can tell you the exact date on that one.
All right.
Because they have a little number on the edge.
I'll tell you, it's hard to see.
This one's looks like 1911.
1911.
Oh, I'm sorry, 1914.
1914.
Right there, you can see it right there. Right on the edge, that's the date code.
Oh, cool. That is neat. So 1914. So just right when World War I was beginning.
Yep.
I think Wilson just got in office. Taft just left. Roosevelt was just through doing his Progressive Party poll. There was a lot of history.
And they just got water here.
And they just got water. Now, how could you tell that?
They got water in 1915.
Okay, so on the maps that we were looking at, it shows when the water was coming in. Right?
No, it doesn't show that. It just shows that the maps are for fire insurance purposes, just showing buildings. But we know for a fact through city records that 1915 is when Knoxville got water, and they put the sewer lines just like they would in any city. They put them in throughout the whole area. what was the city limits at that time. City limits at that time only came this far. If we go another 2 miles or another 1 mile away, it wouldn't be city, and they didn't get water till much later.
Okay, I got you. What's your favorite piece out of all of this? What'd you guys say?
That large marble.
That large? Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, I do too. That's just a really cool.
Early porcelain.
That is just a really cool marble.
Yeah.
Well, we've got the marble, lots of cool buttons. We've got these medical devices here. So let's go in. What are these medical devices here?
That is an enema. The black one is an enema used today. We've dug them from 1860s, 1870s, and they're the same. Nothing has changed with them. Still got to go where it's got to go.
Still got to go where it's got to go.
Yep, and that's the ergonomic way to do it. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. And this,
that to me, as large as that medicine tube is, I would think it probably had I think it's a douche syringe type of thing. It was something to inject in.
Okay.
I don't know about the
Usually
broken
they have
end.
a colored plunger.
Yeah.
You know, a colored glass plunger.
I got you.
But that one's missing the
that
plunger.
would have went on
Yes.
top of here. So that hole there is where
Yes.
the plunger.
Right.
They'd have break the end, and that would
But
have
usually
pushed.
they're not that big.
Yeah.
Usually they're smaller.
But the plunger's missing, and then the end, of course, was more smooth, finished end on it. But that's exactly what that is. So
Okay.
that would be something for yeast infection or something like that they prescribe to a woman to.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of little secrets that we're figuring out about this family just by, the items that are in the house. We found some whiskey flasks, so that means somebody here really enjoyed alcohol. We found some other alcohol-related bottles here and here. Probably the neatest thing is, tell us about the tomato seeds. Now, when we got down to the bottom, there was this pile. It was definitely different. And they're tomato seeds, so these are all tomato seeds.
Correct.
Well, tomato seeds and poopy.
Tomato seeds.
It's poopy. Had to get there some way.
So these are seeds that were eaten and
yes.
then secreted out down into the outhouse and then all settled onto the bottom.
Same as today. Today we eat a lot of tomatoes. Your summer harvest comes in, everybody eats tomatoes. I mean, tomatoes are a staple even today for everybody. So back then even more so. And all kinds of seeds, because that's not all we did. When we usually dig, we get from watermelons, persimmons, we get all the seeds, a variety of crazy seeds. And a lot of times, even when there's water in the pit, when we get down and break into a layer, all of a sudden the seeds come floating to the top.
Really?
So all the seeds are healthy for the most part. We've gone back on several lots where we have dug and raked it over and come back, and the whole thing's like a garden.
Really?
Plants-
So the seeds will grow again.
Correct.
It won't grow.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do.
140-year-old.
You guys pay attention to the Smoky Mountain Relic Room, Chasing History, social media. I'm gonna plant these in the spring and see if they grow. If they grow, we'll put them on social media and we'll probably do a little video or something like that on it. But do go to the Relic Room and Chasing History social media to check those out.
If
I'm
he
gonna try
plants
that.
it, they will grow.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Right.
A little perfume bottle, a comb. This was an interesting thing here. What in the world is this big iron? This is a big, huge chunk of brass. And you said you dug these before.
We've done 2 or 3 of them over the years.
Downtown, near the
Towards out of
railroad
pit.
tracks.
There's something to do with the railroad, but I don't know what.
Something to do with the railroad. So this is probably something to do with the railroad that a kid picked up
Yeah.
and took into the outhouse just to see it go kerplunk.
That's right.
That's crazy.
Break a bottle or two, probably.
Break a bottle or two. Probably the wildest thing we pulled out, and you guys said you've never seen one, is this right here.
Oh yeah, this behemoth right here.
Set that up so we can see it.
It's a porcelain-lined iron toilet seat.
So all of this stuff here passed through that hole.
I don't
right
think so, because there's no way the whiskeys could have went through that hole.
Okay.
There's no way. So it must have been a double seater, and on one side they had this fancy one, and on the other side they just had the hole.
Had the hole.
That's how all those got in. They went through the
Okay,
hole.
that makes
So
sense.
there's no way that could have went through there.
But that is definitely the coolest thing when it comes to oddities.
But yeah,
That's the coolest
it's porcelain lined.
Yep.
Iron.
That's incredible.
Usually you'd see those in a fancy restaurant or something back in the 1890s, but I've never seen one in an outhouse.
Yeah.
So I
It's
thought that was cool.
It's a toilet. We dug a toilet. First time ever. That is so
We dug a toilet in the toilet.
Man. there's just a lot of neat stuff, including this little pipe. I'd call this the oldest thing that we've got. They made these 1820s all the way up until just before the Civil War. These little trade pipes or tavern pipes. Knoxville had a little pipe manufacturer here in
right down
town.
the World's Fair site.
Yeah, right where the World's Fair site was in Knoxville. And you dug there, right?
Yeah, I think you got some from me.
Yeah, I did get some.
That's the pipe.
And so this is a Knoxville pipe that was made in Knoxville that got thrown down into the outhouse. Before there were cigarettes, you would smoke out of these pipes. It had a little reed stem, and that was it. That's a cool thing right here. So the person loved tobacco. People in this house, they enjoyed tobacco. They liked to have a drink. They had a little hygiene problems. There was a kid that loved to play marbles. He was a little smart, but liked to throw things in the toilet.
They had a little girl too.
Had a little girl, had the dolls, had a medical problem, had a little bit of money to spend on some nicer things, a little candy dish here, and enjoyed some Coca-Cola, and they ate tomatoes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a cool story. And they went to what was the name of the drugstore?
Rosenthal.
They went to the Rosenthal.
Yep. And
Right,
the Coleman's
one
might have just been, like I said, generic. Somebody happened to have and give to
Yeah.
it.
And the guy had a mustache. This is so awesome, dude. And we can put all of this stuff back together. And what's cool, guys, is this is one house in one block, in one lot, in one city in the United States. And these are literally in every city, every home that was built before 1910, 1915 would have had this outhouse. There's a really good chance where you're sitting right now in your backyard or your neighbor's backyard that this exact setup is sitting untouched and undiscovered. You know, with so much progress and development that's going on in these days, a lot of construction crews, when they come through, I mean, you guys have seen it, they bulldoze through, they just tear it up and destroy this history. While this history is very diagnostic and very interesting, it's not something that an archaeologist from the University of Tennessee, or any university for that matter, would want to come out and dig. They've dug them, they understand the history, there are records in place, so it's all been documented and known. And this is history that's not important enough for them to go and excavate and discover, but it's important enough for someone that lives into the house, for someone who loves history like we all do, to get in there and to save this history from being destroyed. Because there will come a time, even in a neighborhood like this, maybe 100 years from now, maybe 500 years from now, when this will all be dug into and all of this history will be destroyed, and it's sitting there right now waiting for you to get out there and discover it. This is cool, man. I mean, talk about something awesome. Guys, if there were people who want to get into this, who want to get into finding this, we've shown the process on the episode. What kind of advice would you give our listeners out there?
Don't do it. Call us.
Or call me.
Yeah,
call me.
James.
Yeah, call me. I'll dig it. Just permission. That's all we need.
Yeah, the biggest thing is you have to have the will and the want to do it, because it is a treasure hunting. If you love bottles, which you see, that's mostly what we get out of here. They all have value to them. Everything we've dug today has a value. That's not what we're digging for. We're digging for mostly the history and the information of the neighborhood, the house. A lot of this the property owner will get just to go with his house. If it's out there, Mike and I probably dug it in the past. And so to dig it yourself is a lot of work, but the Sanborn insurance maps help. Then get a spring steel probe, 4-foot spring steel probe, practice on your yard. The best thing to do, there'll always be somebody in your area that does this for a hobby that you could call through Facebook or social media.
They're like bottle digging clubs on
there's
social
all that
media.
stuff, and they'd be glad to come over. Everybody's usually very fair. They would split the fines with you if it was your house. If you connect with somebody, they will run you through the ropes of how to actually find it. We have 4 more pits that we have located on these. This house that we're at now actually had 5 houses on it, and we have located all 5 pits to the houses. We just chose the one we thought was going to be the most productive for the filming. So in the next few weeks, we will go ahead and take our time and we will know what come from each house, and each one will most likely be different.
That's just so cool. Mike, you got anything you want to add to our listeners out there?
Not really, except for it looks fun, it is fun, but it is hard work. So it also helps get you in shape too.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, get out there and hunt this history, discover this history. We're in the 4th and Gill neighborhood in Knoxville, Tennessee. This is a part of the history of this neighborhood and of this city that will be appreciated. These artifacts will be appreciated by the landowner. He'll display them, take care of them, pass them down in his family. We might fight over a marble here after a while, a little bit.
We were gonna give it all to you.
No.
We'll share with the homeowner too.
But we'll enjoy and we'll appreciate this stuff, and this stuff will have a good home. So, do get out there and do this. Contact your local bottle digging club. There's bottle shows and bottle groups on Facebook in your area. Get a hold of them. If you have any questions at all, shoot us a message on Facebook. We'll be happy to try to help get you in touch with somebody, or I'm sure these guys would be happy to get you in touch with somebody in your area where you can discover your own history. So, guys, thank you so much, man. Dude, we appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. We cannot thank you enough for watching our episodes. Please, if you enjoyed this episode, click the like button, hit subscribe if you haven't subscribed to us before, and leave a comment. Let us know how we're doing. If there's something you want to see us go film, say, hey, Chase, you should go check this history out or that history out. Dude, we'll go chase it, man. That's what we do, is we chase this history. We are the Smoky Mountain Relic Room. This is Chase. I still can't get this right. This is Chasing History. We are the educational arm of the Smoky Mountain Relic Room. www.therelicroom.com. Come check us out online. Join us on Facebook. Do you guys do Twitter? Is that one of your Twitter? You don't do Twitter? You don't?
I'm banned.
You're banned from Twitter.
For
really?
life.
What did you do to get banned from Twitter?
I'm also a liar.
You're all okay. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube. We will never, ever, ever be on Twitter because people don't.
We use Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook, Twitter's evil. That's why. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank
Remember,
you.
history rocks.
Enjoy.
Right now, you can throw anything on me. I do not care. I am in my happy place. Come on out of there.
What are you doing in there? Nothing. Drinking whiskey, probably.
Blowing bubbles. Who's in there with you? Bubbles.
Running for the shelter of our mother's little helper, and it helps her on her way, gets her through her busy day. The bottom of the toilet.
This is a good stuff. This is a great. See?
Good stuff.
Sorry. Mother got me into this because it's her helper. She's like, here, Jimmy, this'll help you through your tough time. Isn't that right,
My
Mom?
turn.
I love you, Mom.
My turn.
You're awesome. There you
My
go.
turn.